following program is rated G. It is suitable for all audiences.
全世界の人類に告げるザ・キング・オブ・アイアンフィストトーナメントの開催を宣言する。ただし力を示せぬ弱者は国ごと消えてもらうことになる。
We must seek Jin Kazama.
The battle to decide the ranks of the new world begins now!
I was born for this. You look like fate in the mix, I get a load of this. You ain't posing no threat, and now it's obvious. After rocking a goal, I'm not anonymous.
The fighters will battle for personal glory and the fate of their countries.
I'll give Kazuya a nice smack in the face! これで全てのピースが揃った。
託された希望、決して無駄にはしない。This a new age, still a no game. Watch me pave a new way. It's a no brain. Pay your dues will be used in a cool way. Knock the screws loose, even on the good day.
人類よ、戦いに教本しろ。
One ain't nobody wanna fight. Just standing here with my heart beating proud. I was born ready, yeah, you make me see me down. I was born ready.
Opinions are free, which is why we're here. It's news and talk that our sponsors agree on. WCTR.
Up next, it's Area 53 and Marvin Trill broadcasting live from his trailer in the desert.
A new planet found in space. Is it really a planet or a decoy put up to confuse us? Ghosts, time travel, and the flushing toilet. Which way did Newton's toilet spiral? And finally, are women made from sand? We explore deeper and get to the truth. I'm Marvin Trill. This is Area 53. Hello. You're on the line.
Yeah, hi. I'm a truck driver and listen to your show all the time. I see a lot of unexplained phenomena out there, especially in restrooms. I agree with you about the moon. We never landed on the moon. It's such a good fake.
Remember, the Russians, our archenemy still, I might add, them and the Australians and some species of dog, they beat us into space.
The only thing the Russians are shooting into space are hot dogs and monkeys. Kind of a Noah's Ark fast food kind of vibe. Hey, my dead aunt could make a better space station than them.
Intriguing. I'd like to meet her. On the conspiracy line, caller, you're in Area 53.
Do not use fluoride. It's evil. It made me kill my doctor.
Why would we worry about a chemical that the government puts into the water? Animals can now be trained to fly, including several species of bird. Think about the military applications. Hello, caller.
Hi, my name's Emmanuel. I'm really worried about hackers sending a nuclear bomb after me. You know, through the phones. Do you think they can pinpoint my location?
Look, it's good for the economy to live in constant fear. I mean, the phone company, they have your name on the bill. They know your number. How do you feel about that?
I knew it.
Hello, Julie from Liberty City. You're on the line.
A cowboy ghost has been haunting my house.
I want you to take off your blouse. Stand at the window. Stand there for hours each night. Lure him in. Trapping rogue spirits is dangerous work, especially topless. Take lots of photographs. All right, who's got a theory for me? Next.
Hey, man, love the show, but when are you guys gonna start seeing the bigger picture? We're being lied to, man. And guys like you don't help much, you know? You're virtually one of them. Soon you'll know what I'm talking about.
If people could please just attempt to make sense, that's all I'm asking. Last night, as I was laying in my pod meditating, and it occurred to me, why are you even listening to me? Turn off all electrical devices, including your radio. Hector in San Garcia, why are you still listening?
Because I was hoping you could explain these noises.
What noises?
God, not you too.
Now think about the things we talked about today. Think. Seriously, think. Can it be real? Can it be false? We'll see you next time in Area 53. Be careful out there, wherever you are.
That was Area 53. We're sorry.
Sometimes the law is not enough.
Did you file the subpoena in the McPherson case?
No, it wasn't urgent. I filed an AO440.
AO440?
I know. So I went shopping for these loafers.
Has anyone got a stapler? I've got a lot of forms, and there's a slight breeze in here.
Law, because paperwork is dramatic. Catch it Thursdays on Weasel before it catches you.
Next up on WCTR, the news. We try to make it interesting and not depressing.
This is Leanne Forget, WCTR News. Foreigners are coming. Who are they and why should we care? The FDA warns shampoo is killing your unborn child. Plus, protests continue outside the Zebra Bar Candy Company. Now for Traffic and Transit with Richard Burns.
That's right, Leanne. I'm Richard Burns. The aftermath of the devastating earthquake continues. Travel is still severely restricted statewide. Officials say there are still no reported casualties, which is truly unfortunate as it makes for incredibly boring news. The federal government is still refusing aid to help rebuild bridges, and everyone is blaming each other. The governor is threatening to bomb Australia, despite scientific proof it wasn't their fault. Richard Burns, WCTR.
Police say gang trouble is on the rise again, especially in Los Santos. Sources believe it is linked to the rising drugs trade, while others blame the fascist pigs. Also in gang news, customs officials report a huge influx of Russian mobsters and cheap weapons since the fall of the wall. The governor's office said everything is okay. In Vinewood news, rapper Mad Dog was celebrating the launch of his new clothing line. Richard caught up with him.
The thing about Mad Dog is, think about becoming a superstar. I mean, I've done everything I could do in the rap game. I won shit hands down. Nobody can handle me, Lifetime champ, no shit. Can I say shit?
Oh, hey man, it's cool.
That's cool. Okay, no shit. I got clothes. I got labels coming out, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing drinks. I got shoes, tires, rims. Thinking, next stage is being a full-on superstar, Get to wear a tight suit and nail a lot of tail, you dig? What I do in real life. Gotta get me a drink, though, right now, 'cause I'm thirsty,
What a troubled man. Sounds like he should lay off the sauce. Also today, a Tourette's theater group banned from the park, unless they take up mine. And finally, in foreign news, a suspected U.S. agent was caught in Panama selling weaponry to right-wing guerrillas, causing a major incident. But we plan mostly to gloss over the implications and hope you enjoy some sporting activity tonight. The State Department is advising against foreign travel. This was Leanne Forget, WCTR News. Let's be careful out there.
Up next on WCTR, it's the man coaches hate. It's Derek Thackeray in the tight end zone. Brought to you by Eris Pump Up Shoes, because women love a winner, and winners wear shoes.
Should we start with the national anthem? Yeah, screw it. Yeah, I got too drunk last night. Just play the opening music.
Put one, put two.
Welcome back to the tight end zone. Now it's time for something really important. Fat men talking about games they don't really understand, played by people they don't know. I'm your host, Derek Thackeray. What a crazy year it's been. Let's recap. Drug scandals involving preschool soccer moms. Woo! And the national finals, rich and popular people are fighting it out. Pay attention, the country is in mourning. And most importantly, sportswear. We talk to a fitness expert about the crucial role of endorsed clothing. And who could forget, we visit the greatest moments.
Here he comes. He's in the shadows. There he is. Is he going to make it? Yes, he did. Ladies and gentlemen, what you have just witnessed is the biggest moment in world history. Who cares about a Declaration of Independence or discovery of penicillin? You have just seen one man score a point. When the rest of the world discovers TV, they'll be able to see this. Wow, isn't that amazing? He did what he was paid to do.
We love sports more than you. Love it or loathe it, let's talk about it. Stay in the tight and... let's go to the phones.
Yeah, the Wolves! Hey, Derek, my name's Jason, and I'm a Wolves fan. First-time caller. I don't vote, I can't be bothered. But I will kick your ass if you disrespect my sports team.
Okay, the Wolves, that's a team playing sports as if they cared.
Yeah, the Wolves! I don't care who's sleeping with who on the team.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. Okay. Hey, let's take another call. Who's on the phone? Hello, caller. You're on with the tight end of radio.
Hey, I'm a big Olympics fan. Always have been, since day one. Been to every one.
Me too. I love the games, especially the luge. I'm married, so sliding down an icy tunnel of doom at high speed makes sense.
Yeah, I know about frigid action myself. I mean, they gotta be kidding me. Since when has running been an Olympic sport? Running ain't a sport. Don't make me puke. Anyone can run. My ex-wife made me an athlete. I ran my ass off when the Red Baron flew into town.
I tell you, when I was a kid, there were only 3 sports that mattered. Football, baseball, and killing communists. And I had a great childhood, really great, even if my uncle did come into my room that late at night drunk. And, that was... Anyway, look, who's on the line? We got a Caledonians fan on the line. Tough times, huh? Hey, your whole life revolving around rich men playing poorly.
Man, I totally identify with shallow heroes who I don't know personally. God, I love a dude with a big pituitary gland. I love the Callies, man, but you know, this year, I'm telling you, they're going to need to score some points and get some yardage and win the game.
Yeah, if they don't win, men will be beating their wives with good reason. Hey, they gotta start playing to win, trying to score some on the other team. Hey, I wish I had a wife so she could beat me.
Here's what I say, man. If you want to be number one, you gotta go for first place.
I know. Hey, I mean, it's great stating the obvious, but once you get paid for it, things get really complicated.
Man, I was at their training camp this spring, and the mood in the locker room, dude, guys were getting changed, man. I mean, they were really getting prepared. Shoes were going on, feet, shirts were going on, the shirt part of their body, serious faces on them, and you could tell that they were going to play this game.
Bottom line is, if they don't score more points than the other team, they can't win.
Yeah, man. God, you have some spooky insights into sports, dude. I love your show, man. I love you.
Yeah, great talking to you. Excuse me. Hey, that's really perceptive stuff. You know, we've been petitioning stadiums to install a urinal trough in front of each row of seats. Now, it's so inconvenient having to leave your seat, make everyone stand up, get up, to let you by, then go stand in line for the bathroom. I mean, half the time we can barely walk anyway, all right? So we'll be handing out petitions that say support the team. Don't leave the game, pee at your seat. Going to the phones.
I'm a big fight fan. Love a bit of a punch-up. Since my wife and children got taken into a shelter, my friend said, Chuck, you obviously love hitting things. So I've gotten into boxing. How about that fight between Gonzalez and Jackson?
Well, there's one thing about boxing I always remember. You know, one man wins, the other goes home a loser. Because in boxing, unlike most sports, gravity works downwards.
You gotta be shitting me.
Hey, Derek Thackeray, don't shit on no one. But I do like to piss on my seat and at my seat too. Not really on it, so stay out of the way.
But tell me, the fight game, that ain't rigged, is it?
Of course not. Hey, how could anything professional be fake? Hey, there's too much money at stake for one thing. I mean, these guys got too much to lose. I mean, why is a guy gonna take a dive for a few extra million when he could earn that over a number of years getting his brain turned to pulp? Be serious for a minute. The clock is counting down again. It's time for Derek to head to the locker room and celebrate in the shower. We'll see you next time. Bring a cooler full of beers and get ready to riot. This has been the Tight End Zone.
And this is WCTR, proving that radio is better than TV. That's the show men with large guts love.
Deal with your ignorance in 1 minute flat. Complex issues in 60 seconds. WCTR.
Coming up next, the most mind-numbing thing since the lobotomy. Entertaining America.
This week on Entertaining America, Richard Goblin, one man's triumphant return to cock. The Sherman Octuplets, a Venturis man says he's slept with them all. Plus, noise, speed, danger, cursing, and patriotism finally come together this weekend at the All-America Drunk Driving Cup. Hi from Vinewood. You're on Entertaining America with me, Billy Dexter, bringing you everything that is important in culture and entertainment, if there is a difference between the two, from the heart of entertainment in America, Vinewood, San Andreas. You with me, the Dex. Wanted to call the show Stack the Dex, but not yet. Kiflum. Anyway, great. Big show for you this week. Controversy, they'll be giving me a Pulitzer. Anyway, today, we've got some great guests. First up, we speak to troubled action hero Jack Howitzer. Then we have a live phone link up with a very special guest, a modern-day Lazarus, a man back from the grave, now making it as an extra in major motion pictures. Then, I will explain the secrets of the universe to everyone. But first up, Stack the Dex, in which I, Billy Dexter, meet the entertainers in the news. Kiflum. Jack Howitzer, once the biggest star in America, but the last 3 years have been unkind. People describe him as a dinosaur, an action hero relic from the 80s, a muscle-bound Neanderthal, and my favorite, the most stupid gorilla in the jungle. Jack, welcome to the show. Kiflum.
Good to be here, Dex. Pleasure.
Yeah. So your movies Exploder and Annihilator got America through some tough times, and I was also a huge fan of 0 Seconds to Death Time.
Thank you.
But many say your new film has gone too far.
No, this is a romantic comedy with drama. It's got action. It's got a heart. That's what's most important, I think.
Okay, well, let's take a listen to the trailer.
All right, let's roll that.
He was a man at war with himself, fighting a war that someone else lost.
It's over, Tim! The war's over!
It's never over! You've seen him wipe out millions of Cambodians in Exploder. Now, Jack Howitzer is Tim in his most challenging role yet.
We're here, Tim!
A preschool for slow children?
You're the new teacher, Tim!
Special Needs Cop. It's the story of a psychotic ex-Marine showing tough love to special ed kids.
One of you tards has been running Peruvian flake through the special ed school, and I'm gonna find it. No juice and cookies!
You know you suck, Tim!
But soon, he becomes one of them.
What is this?
That's teacher's gun. You want to see it? Cool. Oh, you gone and shot yourself. Way to go!
He was finally beginning to live a normal life. Then, all hell breaks loose.
Tim, you're so stupid. You count with your fingers.
You want to party with me? Bring it on!
Tim, what are you doing?
I fought for my country! Welcome to the land of freedom, bitches!
Special Needs Cop. He had a lot to learn. This film cannot be rated.
Wow, that's terrible! No wonder our studios are surrounded by protesters.
How could anybody find that offensive?
No, Jack, it's appalling. Your insensitive portrayal of disabled people makes me physically sick, and the idea of you calling someone slow-witted is, frankly, laughable.
Hold on. Drugs are a problem throughout all of society, and I fight them by any means necessary.
Yeah, but you use
camps, prisoner of war camps, and forced labor death camps. Now I spend all my time painting toy soldiers and attending conventions.
Commemorative miniatures. They're instantly collectible and a great value. For just 37 monthly payments of $19.99, you get a starter pack allowing you to recreate the battle of your choice. Show your
drugs.
No, I'd rather die than use drugs. Now you steroids.
General Custer. The next, Napoleon. On Saturdays, I'm a Cambodian villager, and he's a GI that has his way with me.
Then I kill her.
Commemorative miniatures. They're not toys. They're very valuable, collectible 2-inch pewter model armies. This is a hobby you can't afford to miss out on.
Have you...
Come on, watch the fingers. I'm a guitarist.
God, I just don't understand people.
You go to hell.
Well, screw you too, Mom. See if you're ever on the show again. Next caller, hello.
Yeah, what's that plant that blooms every 12 years? Is 8 foot high and smells like hell? I want to plant one on my ex-wife's lawn.
It's called Amorphophallus titanium. God, I love to say that. Amorphophallus titanium. The sound of it gives me a redwood in my khakis. If I come back as a superhero, I want to be called that. It's Amorphophallus titanium, the rare botanical wonder. See his 8-foot protrusion as he pollinates on everyone.
But why does it stink so bad?
It's about marking your territory, my man. You don't mark your territory, do you? You should try it. Pee on the front door of your office. Just see if any...
Oh, I love this city.
All new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. Daming naggagawa on the go. Nuggets at drive, nag-drive. Nag-work. Naglaro. Yan ang sarap on the go. Taste the new, crispy, juicy chicken on the go. Enjoy with your dip of choice. The new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. 99 lang.
Bring it back now.
Ang maliit na aray, di maliit na bagay. Pag walang tigil ang laban. Pag binaliwala ang aray, baka lumala at di ka na makasabay. Balik agad sa laban, alaksan iparagad. May doble galing ng ibuprofen at paracetamol. Diretso sa pinagmula ng sakit. Laban lang mandirigma. Sa maliit o malaking aray, alaksan iparagad.
Alagang Unilab yan.
Uy, 100? Isa-surprise ko sila. Kaya kong mag-magic.
Maggie Magic Sarap All-in-One. Anumang lutuin, nagiging special.
Okay to ah. Special kahit di mahal.
Kagagawan yan ng magic.
Nakita niyo yung 100 ko?
Joseph Body with War, President of the United States of America, and I invite him to address the Assembly.
Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, my fellow leaders, about a week ago, I stood on the other side of the world, in Vietnam, on soil once bloody with war. And I met a small group of veterans, Americans and Vietnamese, and I watched the exchange of personal artifacts from that war, identification cards and a diary. It was deeply moving to see the reaction of the Vietnamese and American soldiers. Culmination of 50 years of hard work on both sides to address the painful legacies of war and to choose to work together toward peace and a better future. Nothing about that journey was inevitable. For decades, it would have been unthinkable for an American president to stand in Hanoi alongside a Vietnamese leader and announce a mutual commitment to the highest level of country's partnership. But it's a powerful reminder that our history need not dictate our future. With the concerted leadership and careful effort, adversaries can become partners. Overwhelming challenges can be resolved, and deep wounds can heal. So let us never forget that. When we choose to stand together and recognize the common hopes that bind all humanity, we hold our hands the power to bend that arc of history. My fellow leaders, we gather once more at an inflection point in world history, with the eyes of the world upon all of you, all of us. As President of the United States, I understand the duty my country has to lead in this critical moment, to work with countries in every region, linking them in common cause, to join together with partners who share a common vision of the future of the world, where our children do not go hungry and everyone has access to quality health care, where workers are empowered and our environment is protected, where entrepreneurs and innovators everywhere can access opportunity everywhere, where conflicts are resolved peacefully and countries can chart their own course. The United States seeks a more secure, more prosperous, more equitable world for all people, because we know our future is bound to yours. Let me repeat that again. We know our future is bound to yours. And no nation can meet the challenges of today alone. The generations that preceded us organized this body, the United Nations, and built international financial institutions and multilateral and regional bodies to help take on the challenges of their time. It wasn't always perfect. But working together, the world made some remarkable and undeniable progress that improved the lives of all people. We avoided the renewal of global conflict while lifting more than 1 billion people out of extreme poverty. We together expanded access to education for millions of children. We saved tens of millions of lives who would have otherwise been lost to preventable and treatable diseases like measles, malaria, tuberculosis. HIV/AIDS infections and deaths plummeted, in no small part because of PEPFAR's work in more than 55 countries, saving more than 25 million lives. It's a profound testament to what we can achieve when we act together, when we take on tough challenges, and an admonition for all of us to urgently accelerate our progress so that no one's left behind, because too many people are being left behind. The institutions we built together at the end of the Second World War are an enduring bedrock of our progress. And the United States is committed to sustaining them. And this year, we're proud to rejoin UNESCO. We also recognize that to meet the new challenges of our decades-old institutions and approaches, they must be updated to keep peace with the world. We have to bring in more leadership and capability that exists everywhere, especially from regions that had not always been fully included. We have to grapple with the challenges that are more connected and more complex. And we have to make sure we're delivering for people everywhere, not just somewhere, everywhere. Simply put, the 21st century results are badly needed. They're needed to move us along. That starts with the United Nations, starts right here in this room. In my address to this body last year, I announced the United States will support expanding the Security Council, increasing the number of permanent and non-permanent members. The United States has undertaken serious consultation with many member states. We'll continue to do our part to push more reform efforts forward, look for points of common ground, and make progress in the year ahead. We need to be able to break the gridlock that too often stymies progress and blocks consensus on the Council. We need more voices, more perspectives at the table. The United Nations must continue to preserve peace, prevent conflict, and alleviate human suffering. And we embrace nations stepping up to lead in new ways and to seek new breakthroughs on hard issues. For example, on Haiti, the Caribbean community is facilitating a dialogue among Haitian society. I thank President Ruto of Kenya, I thank him for his willingness to serve as the lead nation of a UN-backed security support mission. I call on the Security Council to authorize this mission now. The people of Haiti cannot wait much longer. The United States is working across the board to make global institutions more responsive, more effective, and more inclusive. For example, we've taken significant steps to reform and scale up the World Bank, expanding its financing to low and middle-income countries so it can help boost progress toward meeting the Sustainable Development Goals and better address interconnected challenges like climate change and fragility. Under the new president of the World Bank, change is already taking root. Last month, I asked the United States Congress for additional funds to expand World Bank financing by $25 billion. And at the G20, we rallied the major economies of the world to mobilize even more funding. Collectively, we can deliver a transformational boost to World Bank lending. And because the multilateral development banks are among the best tools we have for mobilizing transparent, high-quality investment in developing countries, reforming these institutions can be a game changer. Similarly, we proposed making sure developing countries have a strong voice and representation at the International Monetary Fund. We're going to continue our efforts to reform the World Trade Organization, preserve competition, openness, transparency, and the rule of law, while at the same time equipping it to better tackle modern-day imperatives like driving the clean energy transition, protecting workers, promoting inclusive and sustainable growth. And this month, we strengthened the G20 as a vital forum, welcoming the African Union as a permanent member. By upgrading and strengthening our institutions, that's only half of the picture. We must also forge new partnerships, confront new challenges. Emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence hold both enormous potential and enormous peril. We need to be sure they are used as tools of opportunity, not as weapons of oppression. Together with leaders around the world, the United States is working to strengthen rules and policies so AI technologies are safe before they're released to the public. To make sure we govern this technology, not the other way around, having it govern us. And I'm committed to working through this institution and other international bodies and directly with leaders around the world, including our competitors, to ensure we harness the power of artificial intelligence for good while protecting our citizens from its most profound risk. It's going to take all of us. I've been working on this for a while, as many of you have. It's going to take all of us to get this right. In every region of the world, the United States is mobilizing strong alliances, versatile partnerships, common purpose, collective action to bring new approaches to our shared challenges. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we united 21 nations in support of the Los Angeles Declaration on Migration and Protection, launching a region-wide approach to a region-wide challenge to better uphold laws and protect the rights of migrants. In the Indo-Pacific, we've elevated our Quad partnership with India, Japan, and Australia to deliver concrete progress for the people of the region on everything from vaccines to maritime security. Just yesterday, after 2 consultations in diplomacy, the United States brought together dozens of nations across 4 continents to establish a new partnership for Atlantic cooperation so that the coastal Atlantic countries can better cooperate on science, technology, environmental protection, and sustainable economic development. We brought together nearly 100 countries in a global coalition to counter fentanyl and synthetic drugs to reduce the human cost of this affliction, and it is real. And as the nature of the terrorist threats evolve and the geography expands to new places, we're working with our partners to bring capabilities to bear to disrupt plotting, degrade networks, and protect all of our people. Additionally, we convened
Roy's in some recreational blow, but I got the funds for it. You know, I got...
root out corruption and reject political violence.
You rock!
No doubt. I love Manila. Had a great time.
But that show you did last week, what was the name of that spiritual center in Bangkok?
The Wild Dragon's Happy Ending. Very spiritual. You will find inner peace.
Awesome. I can't wait. Thanks, man.
Yes, we all love to travel, get away from it all, get away from the people with computers in their databases, the police harassing you for doing nothing. I just hate showing up to some place to...
I didn't hear you say sorry.
Burning it! Next caller.
Hey, the FBI wants to talk to me about a perfectly innocent collection of vacation photographs overseas that I had no idea were being taken. I mean, any ignorant fool can misinterpret. I was teaching him how to swim.
I have a lot of experience with this. I want you to stop for a moment and let me read from my travel journal. I think everyone should keep a journal. Paste pictures, notes. Sometimes people object to you taking their picture, but a few pennies of their local currency and they will fawn over you. Some people think this is patronizing, but I think it is fair enough. They need the... For me to head south again, I'm James Beniston, and this has been The Wild Traveler.
This is WCTR, committed to bringing you shows like The Wild Traveler, the show that takes you around the world and abandons you at the airport.
Wonder, see his 8-foot protrusion as he pollinates on everyone.
But why the...
Pee on the front door of your office. Just see if anybody thinks of coming near you.
Okay, I would try that. Thank you so much for the advice, Maurice.
Oh, I'm here to help, sailor.
Gardening with Maurice, only on WCTR.
I miss little Vincent so much. He loved to play baseball. I was driving him to practice. I guess I was busy making eyes at the guy driving next to me. I didn't notice he was sticking his head out the window, his blonde hair blowing in the wind.
Honey, Vince's hair was black.
White women are so easy.
All new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. Daming nagagawa on the go. Nuggets at Drive, Nag-Drive. Nag-work. Naglaro. Yan ang sarap on the go. Taste the new crispy, juicy chicken on the go. Enjoy with your dip of choice. The new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. 99 lang.
Bring it back now.
Ang maliit na aray, di maliit na bagay. Pag walang tigil ang laban. Pag binaliwala ang aray, baka lumala at di ka na makasabay. Balik agad sa laban, alaksan iparagad. May doble galing ng ibuprofen at paracetamol. Diretso sa pinagmula ng sakit. Laban lang mandirigma. Sa maliit o malaking aray, alaksan iparagad.
Alagang Unilab yan.
Uy, 100! Isa-surprise ko sila. Kaya kong mag-magic.
Maggi Magic Sarap All-in-One. Anumang lutuin, nagiging special.
Okay ito ah.
Special kahit di mahal.
Kagagawan yan ng magic.
Nakita niyo yung 100 ko?
And in this moment where democratically elected governments have been toppled in quick succession in West and Central Africa, we're reminded that this work is as urgent and important as ever. We stand with the African Union and ECOWAS and other regional bodies to support constitutional rule. We will not retreat from the values that make us strong. We will defend democracy, our best tool to meet the challenges we face around the world. And we're working to show how democracy can deliver in ways that matter to people's lives. The Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment addresses the enormous need and opportunity for infrastructure investment in low and middle income countries, particularly in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Through strategic, targeted public investments, we can unlock enormous amounts of private sector financing. The G7 has pledged to work with parties to collectively mobilize $600 billion in infrastructure financing by 2027. The United States has already mobilized more than $30 billion to date. We're creating a race to the top with projects that have high standards for workers, the environment, and intellectual property while avoiding the trap of unsustainable debt. We're focusing on economic corridors that will maximize the impact of our collective investment and deliver consequential results across multiple countries and multiple sectors. For example, the Libido Corridor will extend across Africa from the western port of Angola to the DRC to Zambia, boosting regional connectivity and strengthening commerce and food security in Africa. Similarly, the groundbreaking effort we announced at the G20 to connect India to Europe through the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel will spur opportunities and investment across two continents. This is part of our effort to build a more sustainable, integrated Middle East. It demonstrates how Israel's greater normalization and economic connection with its neighbors is delivering positive and practical impacts, even as we continue to work tirelessly to support a just and lasting peace between the Israelis and Palestinians, 2 states for 2 people. Now, let me be clear. None of these partnerships are about containing any country. They're about a positive vision for our shared future. When it comes to China, I want to be clear and consistent. We seek to responsibly manage competition between our countries so it does not tip into conflict. I've said we are for de-risking, not decoupling with China. We will push back on aggression and intimidation and defend the rules of the road, from freedom of navigation to overflight to level economic playing field that have helped safeguard security and prosperity for decades. But we also stand ready to work together with China on issues where progress hinges on our common efforts. Nowhere is that more critical than accelerating the climate crisis, than the accelerating climate crisis. We see it everywhere. Record-breaking heat waves in the United States and China. Wildfires ravaging North America and Southern Europe. A 5th year of drought in the Horn of Africa. Tragic flooding in Libya. My heart goes out to the people of Libya that's killed thousands of people. Together, these snapshots tell an urgent story of what awaits us if we fail to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and begin to climate-proof the world. For one day, my administration, the United States, has treated this crisis as an existential threat from the moment we took office, not only for us, but for all of humanity. Last year, I signed into law in the United States the largest investment ever anywhere in the history of the world to combat the climate crisis and help move the global economy toward a clean energy future. We're also working with the Congress to quadruple our climate financing to help developing countries reach their climate goals and adapt to climate impact. And this year, the world's on track to meet the climate finance pledge that made under the Paris Agreement, $100 billion to raise collectively. But we need more investment from public and private sector alike, especially in places that have contributed so little to global emissions and face some of the worst effects of climate change, like the Pacific Islands. The United States is working directly with the Pacific Island Forum to help these nations adapt, to build resilience to the climate impact, even as we lead the effort to build innovative new partnerships that attack the global challenges from all sides. From the First Movers Coalition, which is mobilizing billions of private sector community and private sector commitments, to creating a market demand for green products in carbon-intense sectors like concrete, shipping, aviation, and trucking, to the Agricultural Innovation Mission for Climate, which is bringing farmers into the climate solution and making our food supply more resilient to climate shocks, and the Global Methane Pledge, now endorsed by more than 150 countries, which expands our focus beyond our carbon emission targets to reduce the potential greenhouse gases in our atmosphere by 30% in this decade. It's all within our capacity. We need to bring the same commitment and urgency and ambition as we work together to meet the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. These goals were adopted at the United Nations in 2015 as a roadmap for improving lives around the world. But the hard truth is, for decades of progress, the world has lost ground these past years in the wake of COVID-19, conflicts, and other crises. The United States is committing to doing its part to get us back on track. All told, in the first 2 years of my administration, the United States has invested more than $100 billion to drive development progress in bolstering food security, expanding access to education worldwide, strengthening healthcare systems, and fighting disease. And we've helped mobilize billions more in the private sector investment. But to accelerate our forward progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, we all have to do more. We need to build new partnerships to change the way we tackle this challenge, to unlock trillions of additional financing for development, drawing on all sources. We need to fill the gaps and address the failures of our existing system exposed by the pandemic. We need to ensure that women and girls benefit fully.
I love you. Yeah, great talking to you. Excuse me. Hey, that's really perceptive stuff. You know, we've been petitioning stadiums to install a urinal trough in front of each row of seats. Now, it's so inconvenient having to leave your seat and make everyone stand up. You know, to let you buy, then go stand in line for the bathroom. I mean, half the time we can barely walk anyway, all right? So we'll be handing out petitions that say support the team. Don't leave a damn pee at your seat. Go into the phones. I'm a big fat fan. Love a bit of a punch up. Since my wife and children are taken into a shelter, my friend says, Chuck, you obviously love a hitting thing. So I've gotten in the box. How about that fight between Gonzalez and Jack? Well, there's one thing about boxing I always remember. You know, one man wins, the other goes home a loser. Because in boxing, unlike most sports, gravity works downwards. You gotta be shitting me. Hey, Derek Thackeray don't shit on no one. But I do like to piss on my seat and at my seat too. Not really, so stay out of the way.
All new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. Daming nagagawa on the go. Nuggets at Drive, nag-drive. Nag-work. Naglaro. Yan ang sarap on the go. Taste the new crispy, juicy chicken on the go. Enjoy with your dip of choice. The new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. 99 lang.
Ang maliit na aray, di maliit na bagay. Pag walang tigil ang laban. Pag binaliwala ang aray, baka lumala at di ka na makasabay. Balik agad sa laban. Alaksan iparagad. May doble galing ng ibuprofen at paracetamol. Diretso sa pinagmula ng sakit. Laban lang mandirigma. Sa maliit o malaking aray, alaksan iparagad.
Alagang Unilab yan.
Uy, 100? Isa-surprise ko sila. Kaya kong mag-magic.
Maggi Magic Sarap All-in-One. Anumang lutuin, nagiging special.
Okay to ah.
Special kahit di mahal.
Kagagawan yan ng magic.
Nakita niyo yung 100 ko?
From our progress. Must also do more to grapple with the debt that holds back so many low and middle-income countries. When nations are forced to service unsustainable debt payments over the needs of their own people, it makes it harder for them to invest in their own futures. And as we work together to recover from global shocks, the United States will also continue to be the largest single country donor of humanitarian assistance at this moment of unparalleled need in the world. Folks, cooperation, partnership. These are the keys to progress on the challenges that affect us all, and the baseline for responsible global leadership. We don't need to agree on everything to keep moving forward on issues like arms control, the cornerstone of international security. After more than 50 years of progress under the Non-Proliferation Treaty, Russia is shredding long-standing arms control agreements, including announcing the suspension of the New START and withdrawing from the Conventional Forces in Europe Treaty. I view it as irresponsible and makes the entire world less safe. The United States is going to continue to pursue good faith efforts to reduce the threat of weapons of mass destruction and lead by example, no matter what else is happening in the world. This year, we safely destroyed at least the last chemical munitions in the U.S. stockpile, fulfilling our commitment toward a world free of chemical weapons. And we condemn the DPRK's continued violation of UN Security Council resolutions, but we are committed to diplomacy that will bring about the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We're working with our partners to address Iran's destabilizing activities that threaten regional and global security and remain steadfast in our commitment that Iran must never acquire a nuclear weapon. Now, even as we evolve our institutions and drive creative new partnerships, let me be clear. Certain principles of our international system are sacrosanct. Sovereignty, territorial integrity, human rights. These are the core tenets of the UN Charter, the pillars of peaceful relations among nations, without which we cannot achieve any of our goals. That has not changed, and that must not change. Yet, for the second year in a row, this gathering, dedicated to peaceful resolution of conflicts, is darkened by the shadow of war. An illegal war of conquest brought without provocation by Russia against its neighbor Ukraine. Like every nation in the world, the United States wants this war to end. No nation wants this war to end more than Ukraine. And we strongly support Ukraine in its efforts to bring about a diplomatic resolution that delivers just and lasting peace. But Russia alone bears responsibility for this war. Russia alone has the power to end this war immediately. And it's Russia alone that stands in the way of peace, because Russia's price for peace is Ukraine's capitulation, Ukraine's territory, and Ukraine's children. Russia believes that the world will grow weary and allow it to brutalize Ukraine without consequence. But I ask you this: if we abandon the core principles of the United States to appease an aggressor, can any member state in this body feel confident that they are protected? If we allow Ukraine to be carved up, is the independence of any nation secure? I'd respectfully suggest the answer is no. We have to stand up to this naked aggression today and deter other would-be aggressors tomorrow. That's why the United States, together with our allies and partners around the world, will continue to stand with the brave people of Ukraine as they defend their sovereignty and territorial integrity and their freedom. It's not only an investment in Ukraine's future, but in the future of every country. It seeks a world governed by basic rules that apply equally to all nations and uphold the rights of every nation, no matter how big or small. Sovereignty, territorial integrity, they are the fixed foundations of this noble body. And universal human rights, this North Star, we cannot sacrifice either. 75 years ago, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights captured a remarkable act of collective hope. I say that again, collective hope. Drafted by a committee representing different regions, faiths, philosophies, and adopted by the entire General Assembly. The rights contained in the Declaration are elemental and enduring. And while we still struggle to uphold equal and inalienable rights of all, they remain ever steady and ever true. We cannot turn away from abuses, whether in Xinjiang, Tehran, Darfur, or anywhere else. We have to continue working to ensure that women and girls enjoy equal rights and equal participation in their society. That indigenous groups, racial, ethnic, religious minorities, people with disabilities do not have their potential stifled by systemic discrimination. That the LGBTQI plus people are not prosecuted or targeted with violence because of who they are. These rights are part of our shared humanity. They're absent, when they're absent anywhere, the loss is felt everywhere. They are essential to the advancement of human progress that brings us together. My fellow leaders, let me close with this. At this inflection point in history, we're going to be judged by whether or not we live up to the promises we made to ourselves, to each other, to the most vulnerable, and to all those who will inherit the world we create, because that's what we're doing. Will we find within ourselves the courage to do what must be done, to preserve the planet, to protect human dignity, to provide opportunity for people everywhere, and to defend the tenets of the United Nations? There can only be one answer to that question. We must, and we will.
Look, we can fight like beasts or agree to disagree. I'm sure the sum of your aspirations in life is a chill with fake guns, but some of us think a little more exotic than this.
All new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. Daming naggagawa on the go. Nuggets at Drive, nag-drive. Nag-work. Naglaro. Yan ang sarap on the go. Taste the new crispy, juicy chicken on the go. Enjoy with your dip of choice. The new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets, 99 lang.
Isa-surprise ko sila. Kaya kong mag-magic.
Maggie Magic Sarap All-in-One. Anumang lutuin, nagiging special.
Okay to ah.
Special kahit di mahal.
Kagagawan yan ng magic.
Nakita niyo yung 100 ko?
My administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay. America's economy is booming like never before. Since my election, we've added $10 trillion in wealth. The stock market is at an all-time high in history, and jobless claims are at a 50-year low. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment have all achieved their lowest levels ever recorded. We've added more than 4 million new jobs, including 500,000 manufacturing jobs. We have passed the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history. We've started the construction of a major border wall and we have greatly strengthened border security. We have secured record funding for our military, $700 billion this year and $716 billion next year. Our military will soon be more powerful than it has ever been before. In other words, the United States is stronger, safer, and a richer country than it was when I assumed office less than 2 years ago. We are standing up for America and for the American people, and we are also standing up for the world. This is great news for our citizens and for peace-loving people everywhere. We believe that when nations respect the rights of their neighbors and defend the interests of their people, they can better work together to secure the blessings of safety, prosperity, and peace. Each of us here today is the emissary of a distinct culture, a rich history, and a people bound together by ties of memory, tradition, and the values that make our homelands like nowhere else on earth. That is why America will always choose independence and cooperation over global governance, control, and domination. I honor the right of every nation in this room to pursue its own customs, beliefs, and traditions. The United States will not tell you how to live or work or worship. We only ask that you honor our sovereignty in return. From Warsaw to Brussels to Tokyo to Singapore, it has been my highest honor to represent the United States abroad. I have forged close relationships and friendships and strong partnerships with the leaders of many nations in this room, and our approach has always yielded incredible change. With support from many countries here today, we have engaged with North Korea to replace the specter of conflict with a bold and new push for peace. In June, I traveled to Singapore to meet face-to-face with North Korea's leader, Chairman Kim Jong-un. We had highly productive conversations and meetings, and we agreed that it was in both countries' interest to pursue the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Since that meeting, we have already seen a number of encouraging measures that few could have imagined only a short time ago. The missiles and rockets are no longer flying in every direction. Nuclear testing has stopped. Some military facilities are already being dismantled. Our hostages have been released, and as promised, the remains of our fallen heroes are being returned home to lay at rest in American soil. I would like to thank Chairman Kim for his courage and for the steps he has taken, though much work remains to be done. The sanctions will stay in place until denuclearization occurs. I also want to thank the many member states who helped us reach this moment, a moment that is actually far greater than people would understand, far greater. But for also their support, and the critical support that we will all need going forward. Special thanks to President Moon of South Korea, Prime Minister Abe of Japan, and President Xi of China. In the Middle East, our new approach is also yielding great strides and very historic change. Following my trip to Saudi Arabia last year, the Gulf countries opened a new center to target terrorist financing. They are enforcing new sanctions, working with us to identify and track terrorist networks, and taking more responsibility for fighting terrorism and extremism in their own region. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar have pledged billions of dollars to aid the people of Syria and Yemen, and they are pursuing multiple avenues to ending Yemen's horrible, horrific civil war. Ultimately, it is up to the nations of the region to decide what kind of future they want for themselves and their children. For that reason, the United States is working with the Gulf Cooperation Council, Jordan, and Egypt to establish a regional strategic alliance so that Middle Eastern nations can advance prosperity, stability, and security across their home region. Thanks to the United States military and our partnership with many of your nations, I am pleased to report that the bloodthirsty killers known as ISIS have been driven out from the territory they once held in Iraq and Syria. We will continue to work with friends and allies to deny radical Islamic terrorists any funding, territory, or support, or any means of infiltrating our borders. The ongoing tragedy in Syria is heartbreaking. Our shared goals must be the de-escalation of military conflict, along with a political solution that honors the will of the Syrian people. In this vein, we urge the United Nations-led peace process be reinvigorated. But rest assured, the United States will respond if chemical weapons are deployed by the Assad regime. I commend the people of Jordan and other neighboring countries for hosting refugees from this very brutal civil war. As we see in Jordan, the most compassionate policy is to place refugees as close to their homes as possible, to ease their eventual return to be part of the rebuilding process. This approach also stretches finite resources to help far more people, increasing the impact of every dollar spent. Every solution to the humanitarian crisis in Syria must also include a strategy to address the brutal regime that has fueled and financed it.
Ang maliit na aray, di maliit na bagay. Pag walang tigil ang laban. Pag binaliwala ang aray, baka lumala at di ka na makasabay. Balik agad sa laban. Alaksan iparagad. May doble galing ng ibuprofen at paracetamol. Diretso sa pinagmula ng sakit. Laban lang mandirigma. Sa maliit o malaking aray, alaksan iparagad.
Alagang Unilab yan.
All new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. Daming naggagawa on the go. Nuggets at drive, nag-drive. Nag-work. Naglaro. Yan ang sarap on the go. Taste the new crispy, juicy chicken on the go. Enjoy with your dip of choice. The new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. 99 lang.
Isa-surprise ko sila. Kaya kong mag-magic.
Maggi Magic Sarap All-in-One. Anumang lutuin, nagiging special.
Okay to ah.
Special kahit di mahal.
Kagagawan yan ng magic.
Nakita niyo yung 100 ko?
The corrupt dictatorship in Iran. Iran's leaders sow chaos, death, and destruction. They do not respect their neighbors or borders or the sovereign rights of nations. Instead, Iran's leaders plunder the nation's resources to enrich themselves and to spread mayhem across the Middle East and far beyond. The Iranian people are rightly outraged that their leaders have embezzled billions of dollars from Iran's treasury, seized valuable portions of the economy, and looted the people's religious endowments, all to line their own pockets and send their proxies to wage war. Not good. Iran's neighbors have paid a heavy toll for the region's agenda of aggression and expansion. That is why so many countries in the Middle East strongly supported my decision to withdraw the United States from the horrible 2015 Iran nuclear deal and reimpose nuclear sanctions. The Iran deal was a windfall for Iran's leaders. In the years since the deal was reached, Iran's military budget grew nearly 40%. The dictatorship used the funds to build nuclear-capable missiles, increase internal repression, finance terrorism, and fund havoc and slaughter in Syria and Yemen. The United States has launched a campaign of economic pressure to deny the regime the funds it needs to advance its bloody agenda. Last month, we began reimposing hard-hitting nuclear sanctions that have been lifted under the Iran deal. Additional sanctions will resume November 5th, and more will follow. And we are working with countries that import Iranian crude oil to cut their purchases substantially. We cannot allow the world's leading sponsor of terrorism to possess the planet's most dangerous weapons. We cannot allow a regime that chants death to America and that threatens Israel with annihilation to possess the means to deliver a nuclear warhead to any city on earth. Just can't do it. We ask all nations to isolate Iran's regime as long as its aggression continues. And we ask all nations to support Iran's people as they struggle to reclaim their religious and righteous destiny. This year, we also took another significant step forward in the Middle East in recognition of every sovereign state to determine its own capital. I moved the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. The United States is committed to a future of peace and stability in the region, including peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. That aim is advanced, not harmed, by acknowledging the obvious facts. America's policy of principled realism means we will not be held hostage to old dogmas, discredited ideologies, and so-called experts who have been proven wrong over the years, time and time again. This is true not only in matters of peace, but in matters of prosperity. We believe that trade must be fair and reciprocal. The United States will not be taken advantage of any longer. For decades, the United States opened its economy, the largest by far on earth, with few conditions. We allowed foreign goods from all over the world to flow freely across our borders. Yet, other countries did not grant us fair and reciprocal access to their markets in return. Even worse, some countries abused their openness to dump their products, subsidize their goods, target our industries, and manipulate their currencies to gain unfair advantage over our country.
All new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. Daming nagagawa on the go. Nuggets at Drive, nag-drive. Nag-work. Naglaro. Yan ang sarap on the go. Taste the new crispy, juicy chicken on the go. Enjoy with your dip of choice. The new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. 99 lang.
Bring it back now.
Ang maliit na aray, di maliit na bagay. Pag walang tigil ang laban. Pag binaliwala ang aray, baka lumala at di ka na makasabay. Balik agad sa laban. Alaksan iparagad. May doble galing ng ibuprofen at paracetamol. Diretso sa pinagmulan ng sakit. Laban lang mandirigma. Sa maliit o malaking aray, alaksan iparagad.
Alagang Unilab yan.
Uy, 100! Isa-surprise ko sila. Kaya kong mag-magic.
Maggi Magic Sarap All-in-One. Ano mang lutuin, nagiging special.
Okay ito ah.
Special kahit di mahal.
Kagagawan yan ng magic.
Nakita niyo yung 100 ko?
The money.
Yeah, don't you think you're just a little out of touch?
Whoa, 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 yeah. I'm rich and I work in Vinewood, okay? I'm not out of touch. Action, weightlifting, and killing foreigners. That never goes out of style, Dex. My last film, okay, Loincloth, about a wrestler who's dropped into Thailand and I saved the world by teabagging the bad guys. That's a spiritual picture. That's love teabagging. That stuff ain't out of style.
Yeah, things are more sensitive now.
I was affected, all right, when Ho Chi got hurt in Exploder. I mean, I thought it was time to do something, a film that made a difference.
Hey, but Ho Chi was a character. Exploder was a movie.
Right, and I was there, and I should have killed them all. Yeah. Don't push me, Dex. I'll give you a war you won't believe. That look in your eye, right here, right now.
Okay, Jack, all I'm saying is you launching missiles from a special wheelchair and killing innocent civilians is somewhat insensitive.
There's never any innocent civilians in life. If the Reds roll down the street right now, what are you gonna do?
The Reds lost, man. It's over. You can come home.
I'll shoot those bastards with this, the family killer!
Jack, put that away, please.
What, this? It's a submachine gun. Come on, it's not serious. Oh, but you're Billy Dexter. Who put you up to this? Gorbachev?
No. You should come down.
I heard what you said about me. You think steroids shrank my genitals.
No!
You said it.
Put the gun down.
My balls?
Please! I'm sure you have huge ones.
That's right.
Please stop.
Come on, they haven't shrunk. Touch them. Feel them.
No!
Come on, sniff them. Do something.
No.
Touch them or die. They're still big.
Oh, God. They're huge,
That's
Jack.
right.
Yeah, Mom.
Easy,
Mommy.
hey. Don't grab them like that. Oh, boy, I was kidding. What are you, a boyfriend of mine or something? Hey.
You had me scared there for a minute. I crapped myself.
Take it easy. It's not even loaded. Oh, Dex. Oh, shit. Oh, well, I guess it was. Oh, okay, Billy, don't get around. Get up, boy. Get up, come on. Damn it, his brain is leaking. Help! Oh, there's only one thing to do. I gotta defend freedom. No time to cry. Only time to die. Welcome to the land of freedom, bitches!
That was Entertaining America, showing you why America is so respected culturally across the world. Prepare to be scared. The news is next.
This is Leanne Forget, WCTR News. Pop sensation Crow threatens to stop singing. America celebrates. And movies, are they true? Plus, children, was Freud right? Do they want us all dead? Now a WCTR...
The best time in human history to be born. For you are more likely than ever before to be literate, to be healthy, to be free to pursue your dreams. And yet there is a pervasive unease in our world. A sense that the very forces that have brought us together have created new dangers and made it difficult for any single nation to insulate itself from global forces. As we gather here, an outbreak of Ebola overwhelms public health systems in West Africa and threatens to move rapidly across borders. Russian aggression in Europe recalls the days when large nations trampled small ones in pursuit of territorial ambition. The brutality of terrorists in Syria and Iraq forces us to look into the heart of darkness. Each of these problems demands urgent attention, but they also are symptoms of a broader problem. The failure of our international system to keep pace with an interconnected world. We collectively have not invested adequately in the public health capacity of developing countries. Too often we have failed to enforce international norms when it's inconvenient to do so. And we have not confronted forcefully enough the intolerance, sectarianism, and hopelessness that feeds violent extremism in too many parts of the globe. Fellow delegates, we come together as United Nations with a choice to make. We can renew the international system that has enabled so much progress, or we can allow ourselves to be pulled back by an undertow of instability. We can reaffirm our collective responsibility to confront global problems, or be swamped by more and more outbreaks of instability. And for America, the choice is clear. We choose hope over fear. We see the future not as something out of our control, but as something we can shape for the better through concerted and collective effort. We reject fatalism or cynicism when it comes to human affairs. We choose to work for the world as it should be, as our children deserve it to be. There's much that must be done to meet the test of this moment. But today I'd like to focus on two defining questions at the root of so many of our challenges.
Hey, look out!
Whether the nations here today will be able to renew the purpose of the UN's founding, and whether we will come together to reject the cancer of violent extremism. First, all of us, big nations and small, must meet our responsibility to observe and enforce international norms. We are here because others realize that we gain more from cooperation than conquest. 100 years ago, a world war claimed the lives of many millions, proving that with the terrible power of modern weaponry, the cause of empire ultimately leads to the graveyard. It would take another world war to roll back the forces of fascism, the notions of racial supremacy, and form this United Nations to ensure that no nation can subjugate its neighbors and claim their territory.
Watch the shirt.
Recently, Russia's actions in Ukraine challenge this post-war order. Here are the facts. After the people of Ukraine mobilized popular protests and calls for reform, their corrupt president fled. Against the will of the government in Kiev, Crimea was annexed. Russia poured arms into eastern Ukraine, fueling violent separatists, and a conflict that has killed thousands. When a civilian airliner was shot down from areas that these proxies controlled, they refused to allow access to the crash for days. When Ukraine started to reassert control over its territory, Russia gave up the pretense of merely supporting the separatists and moved troops across the border. This is a vision of the world in which might makes right. A world in which one nation's borders can be redrawn by another. And civilized people are not allowed to recover the remains of their loved ones because of the truth that might be revealed. America stands for something different. We believe that right makes might. That bigger nations should not be able to bully smaller ones, and that people should be able to choose their own future. And these are simple truths, but they must be defended. America and our allies will support the people of Ukraine as they develop their democracy and economy. We will reinforce our NATO allies and uphold our commitment to collective self-defense. We will impose a cost on Russia for aggression, and we will counter falsehoods with the truth. And we call upon others to join us on the right side of history. For while small gains can be won at the barrel of a gun, they will ultimately be turned back if enough voices support the freedom of nations and peoples to make their own decisions. Moreover, a different path is available. The path of diplomacy and peace and the ideals this institution is designed to uphold. The recent ceasefire agreement in Ukraine offers an opening to achieve those objectives. If Russia takes that path, a path that for stretches of the post-Cold War period resulted in prosperity for the Russian people, then we will lift our sanctions and welcome Russia's role in addressing common challenges. After all, that's what the United States and Russia have been able to do in past years, from reducing our nuclear stockpiles to meeting our obligations under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, to cooperating to remove and destroy Syria's declared chemical weapons. And that's the kind of cooperation we are prepared to pursue again, if Russia changes course. This speaks to a central question of our global age, whether we will solve our problems together in a spirit of mutual interest and mutual respect, or whether we descend into the destructive rivalries of the past. When nations find common ground, not simply based on power, but on principle, then we can make enormous progress. And I stand before you today committed to investing American strength, to working with all nations to address the problems we face in the 21st century. As we speak, America is deploying our doctors and scientists, supported by our military, to help contain the outbreak of Ebola and pursue new treatments. But we need a broader effort to stop a disease that could kill hundreds of thousands, inflict horrific suffering, destabilize economies, and move rapidly across borders. It's easy to see this as a distant problem until it is not. And that is why we will continue to mobilize other countries to join us in making concrete commitments, significant commitments to fight this outbreak and enhance our system of global health security for the long term. America is pursuing a diplomatic resolution to the Iranian nuclear issue as part of our commitment to stop the spread of nuclear weapons and pursue the peace and security of a world without them. And this can only take place if Iran seizes this historic opportunity. My message to Iran's leaders and people has been simple and consistent. Do not let this opportunity pass. We can reach a solution that meets your energy needs while assuring the world that your program is peaceful. America is and will continue to be a Pacific power, promoting peace, stability, and the free flow of commerce among nations. But we will insist that all nations abide by the rules of the road and resolve their territorial disputes peacefully, consistent with international law. That's how the Asia-Pacific has grown. And that's the only way to protect this progress going forward. America is committed to a development agenda that eradicates extreme poverty by 2030. We will do our part to help people feed themselves, power their economies, and care for their sick. And if the world acts together, we can make sure that all of our children enjoy lives of opportunity and dignity. America is pursuing ambitious reductions in our carbon emissions. And we've increased our investments in clean energy. We will do our part and help developing nations do theirs. But the science tells us we can only succeed in combating climate change if we are joined in this effort by every other nation, by every major power. That's how we can protect this planet for our children and our grandchildren. In other words, on issue after issue.
Even there, the police are too strict. You just can't let your hair down. There are far more unexplored pleasures to be had in the Far East. Next caller, you're on the wild...
families and run numbers. South America, everyone went extinct there. They have less culture there than the content of my toilet bowl. Rainforest, schmain forest. And Mexico, if I wanted to be that close to my ancient ancestors,
All new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. Daming naggagawa on the go. Nuggets at Drive, nag-drive. Nag-work. Naglaro. Yan ang sarap on the go. Taste the new crispy, juicy chicken on the go. Enjoy with your dip of choice. The new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. 99 lang.
Ang maliit na aray, di maliit na bagay. Pag walang tigil ang laban. Pag binaliwala ang aray, baka lumala at di ka na makasabay. Balik agad sa laban, alaksan iparagad. May doble galing ng ibuprofen at paracetamol. Diretso sa pinagmula ng sakit. Laban lang mandirigma. Sa maliit o malaking aray, alaksan iparagad.
Alagang Unilab yan.
Uy, 100! Isa-surprise ko sila. Kaya kong mag-magic.
Maggie Magic Sarap All-in-One. Ano mang lutuin, nagiging special.
Okay ito ah.
Special kahit di mahal.
Kagagawan yan ng magic.
Nakita niyo yung 100 ko? We cannot rely on a rule book written for a different century. If we lift our eyes beyond our borders, if we think globally, and if we act cooperatively, we can shape the course of this century as our predecessors shaped the post-World War II age. But As we look to the future, one issue risks a cycle of conflict that could derail so much progress, and that is the cancer of violent extremism that has ravaged so many parts of the Muslim world. Of course, terrorism is not new. Speaking before this assembly, President Kennedy put it well. Terror is not a new weapon, he said. Throughout history, it has been used by those who could not prevail either by persuasion or example. In the 20th century, terror was used by all manner of groups who failed to come to power through public support. But in this century, we have faced a more lethal and ideological brand of terrorists who have perverted one of the world's great religions. With access to technology that allows small groups to do great harm, they have embraced a nightmarish vision that would divide the world into adherents and infidels, killing as many innocent civilians as possible, employing the most brutal methods to intimidate people within their communities. I have made it clear that America will not base our entire foreign policy on reacting to terrorism. Instead, we've waged a focused campaign against Al-Qaeda and its associated forces, taking out their leaders, denying them the safe havens they rely on.
Look at me, what do you think?
At the same time, we have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace. Muslims the world over aspire to live with dignity and a sense of justice. And when it comes to America and Islam, there is no us and them, there is only us, because millions of Muslim Americans are part of the fabric of our country. So we reject any suggestion of a clash of civilizations. Belief in permanent religious war is the misguided refuge of extremists who cannot build or create anything, and therefore peddle only fanaticism and hate. And it is no exaggeration to say that humanity's future depends on us uniting against those who would divide us along the fault lines of tribe or sect, race, or religion.
You're gonna shine my chrome with your ass!
But this is not simply a matter of words.
I'll split you like
Collectively,
a twin shot.
we must take concrete steps to address the danger posed by religiously motivated fanatics and the trends that fuel their recruitment. Moreover, this campaign against extremism goes beyond a narrow security challenge. For while we've degraded methodically core Al-Qaeda and supported a transition to a sovereign Afghan government, extremist ideology has shifted to other places, particularly in the Middle East and North Africa, where a quarter of young people have no jobs, where food and water could grow scarce, where corruption is rampant, and sectarian conflicts have become increasingly hard to contain. As an international community, we must meet this challenge with a focus on 4 areas. First, the terrorist group known as ISIL must be degraded and ultimately destroyed. This group has terrorized all who they come across in Iraq and Syria. Mothers, sisters, daughters have been subjected to rape as a weapon of war. Innocent children have been gunned down. Bodies have been dumped in mass graves. Religious minorities have been starved to death. And the most horrific crimes imaginable. Innocent human beings have been beheaded with videos of the atrocity distributed to shock the conscience of the world.
You gonna steal on a G?
No God condones this terror. No grievance justifies these actions.
I'm gonna give you a...
There can be no reasoning, no negotiation with this brand of evil.
Hardy and me.
The only language understood by killers like this is the language of force. So the United States of America will work with a broad coalition to dismantle this network of death. In this effort, we do not act alone. Nor do we intend to send U.S. troops to occupy foreign lands. Instead, we will support Iraqis and Syrians fighting to reclaim their communities. We will use our military might in a campaign of airstrikes to roll back ISIL. We will train and equip forces fighting against these terrorists on the ground. We will work to cut off their financing and to stop the flow of fighters into and out of the region.
I'm gonna enjoy kicking your ass.
And already over 40 nations have offered to join this coalition. Today I ask the world to join in this effort. Those who have joined ISIL should leave the battlefield while they can. Those who continue to fight for a hateful cause will find they are increasingly alone. For we will not succumb to threats, and we will demonstrate that the future belongs to those who build, not those who destroy. So that's an immediate challenge. The first challenge that we must meet. The second, it is time for the world, especially Muslim communities,
We must seek Jin Kazama.
The battle to decide the ranks of the new world begins now!
I was born for this. You look like Vader that makes
The King of Iron Fist Tournament の開催を宣言する。ただし、力を示せぬ弱者は国ごと消えてもらうことになる。
We must seek Jin Kazama.
The battle to decide the ranks of the new world begins now!
I was born for this. You look like Vader that makes I get a load of this. You ain't posing no threat, and now it's obvious. After rocking a goal, I'm not anonymous.
The fighters will battle for personal glory and the fate of their countries.
I'll give Kazuya a nice smack in the face! これで全てのピースが揃った。
託された希望、決して無駄にはしない。It's a new age, still a no game. Watch me pave a new way. It's a no brain. Pay your dues will be used in a cool way. I can schools lose, I know the good thing.
人類よ、戦いに教本しろ。
When ain't nobody wanna fight. Still sitting here with my heart being proud. I was born ready, even though I see you down. I was born ready.
As a result, our trade deficit ballooned to nearly $800 billion a year. For this reason, we are systematically renegotiating broken and bad trade deals. Last month, we announced a groundbreaking U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. And just yesterday, I stood with President Moon to announce the successful completion of the brand new U.S.-Korea trade deal. And this is just the beginning. Many nations in this hall will agree that the world trading system is in dire need of change. For example, countries were admitted to the World Trade Organization that violate every single principle on which the organization is based. While the United States and many other nations play by the rules, these countries use government-run industrial planning and state-owned enterprises to rig the system in their favor. They engage in relentless product dumping, forced technology transfer, and the theft of intellectual
I'm gonna enjoy kicking
property.
your ass.
The United States lost over 3 million manufacturing jobs, nearly a quarter of all steel jobs, and 60,000 factories after China joined the WTO. And we have racked up $13 trillion in trade deficits over the last 2 decades. But those days are over. We will no longer tolerate such abuse. We will not allow our workers to be victimized, our companies to be cheated, and our wealth to be plundered and transferred. America will never apologize for protecting its citizens. The United States has just announced tariffs on another $200 billion in Chinese-made goods, with a total so far of $250 billion. I have great respect and affection for my friend, President Xi, but I've made clear our trade imbalance is just not acceptable. China's market distortions and the way they deal cannot be tolerated. As my administration has
All new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. Daming naggagawa on the go. Nuggets at drive, nag-drive. Nag-work. Naglaro. Yan ang sarap on the go. Taste the new crispy, juicy chicken on the go. Enjoy with your dip of choice. The new Jollibee Chicken Nuggets. 99 lang.
Bring it back now.
Ang maliit na aray, di maliit na bagay. Pag walang tigil ang laban. Pag binaliwala ang aray, baka lumala at di ka na makasabay. Balik agad sa laban. Alaksan iparagad. May doble galing ng ibuprofen at paracetamol. Diretso sa pinagmulan ng sakit. Laban lang mandirigma. Sa maliit o malaking aray, alaksan iparagad.
Alagang Unilab yan.
Uy, 100? Isa-surprise ko sila. Kaya kong mag-magic.
Maggi Magic Sarap All-in-One. Anumang lutuin, nagiging special.
Okay to ah.
Special kahit di mahal.
Kagagawan yan ng magic.
Nakita niyo yung 100 ko?
Demonstrated America will always act in our national interests. I spoke before this body last year and warned that the UN Human Rights Council had become a grave embarrassment to this institution, shielding egregious human rights abuses while bashing America and its many friends. Our ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, laid out a clear agenda for reform, but despite reported and repeated warnings, no action at all was taken. So the United States took the only responsible course We withdrew from the Human Rights Council, and we will not return until real reform is enacted. For similar reasons, the United States will provide no support in recognition to the International Criminal Court. As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy. America is governed by Americans. We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism. Around the world, responsible nations must defend against threats to sovereignty, not just from global governments, but also from other new forms of coercion and domination. In America, we believe strongly in energy security for ourselves and for our allies. We have become the largest energy producer anywhere on the face of the earth. The United States stands ready to export our abundant, affordable supply of oil, clean coal, and natural gas. OPEC and OPEC nations are, as usual, ripping off the rest of the world.
Don't let
I
the
don't
little
like
man
it.
fool you.
Nobody should like it. We defend many of these nations for nothing, and then they take advantage of us
Mutton chops.
by giving us high oil prices. Not good. We want them to stop raising prices. We want them to start lowering prices, and they must contribute substantially to military protection from now on. We are not going to put up with it, these horrible prices, much longer. Reliance on a single foreign supplier can leave a nation vulnerable to extortion and intimidation. That is why we congratulate European states such as Poland for leading the construction of a Baltic pipeline so that nations are not dependent on Russia to meet their energy needs. Germany will become totally dependent on Russian energy if it does not immediately change course. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we are committed to maintaining our independence from the encroachment of expansionist foreign powers. It has been the formal policy of our country since President Monroe that we reject the interference of foreign nations in this hemisphere and in our own affairs. The United States has recently strengthened our laws to better screen foreign investments in our country for national security threats. And we welcome cooperation with countries in this region and around the world that wish to do the same. You need to do it for your own protection. The United States is also working with partners in Latin America to confront threats to sovereignty from uncontrolled migration. Tolerance for human struggling and human smuggling and trafficking is not humane. It's a horrible thing that's going on at levels that nobody has ever seen before. It's very, very cruel. Illegal immigration funds criminal networks, ruthless gangs, and the flow of deadly drugs. Illegal immigration exploits vulnerable populations, hurts hard-working citizens, and has produced a vicious cycle of crime, violence, and poverty. Only by upholding national borders, destroying criminal gangs, can we break this cycle and establish a real foundation for prosperity. We recognize the right of every nation in this room to set its own immigration policy in accordance with its national interests, just as we ask other countries to respect our own right to do the same, which we are doing. That is one reason the United States will not participate in the new global compact on migration. Migration should not be governed by an international body unaccountable to our own citizens.
You and me!
Ultimately, the only long-term solution to the migration crisis is to help people build more hopeful futures in their home countries. Make their countries great again. Currently, we are witnessing a human tragedy, as an example, in Venezuela. More than 2 million people have fled the anguish inflicted by the socialist Maduro regime and its Cuban sponsors. Not long ago, Venezuela was one of the richest countries on earth. Today, socialism has bankrupted the oil-rich nation and driven its people into abject poverty. Virtually everywhere socialism or communism has been tried, it has produced suffering, corruption, and decay. Socialism's thirst for power leads to expansion, incursion, and oppression. All nations of the world should resist socialism and the misery that it brings to everyone. In that spirit, we ask the nations gathered here to join us in calling for the restoration of democracy in Venezuela. Today we are announcing additional sanctions against the repressive regime, targeting Maduro's inner circle and close advisors. We are grateful for all of the work the United Nations does around the world to help people build better lives for themselves and their families. The United States is the world's largest giver in the world by far of foreign aid, but few give anything to us. That is why we are taking a hard look at U.S. foreign assistance. That will be headed up by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. We will examine what is working, what is not working, and whether the countries who receive our dollars and our protection also have our interests at heart. Moving forward, we are only going to give foreign aid to those who respect us and, frankly, are our friends. And we expect other countries to pay their fair share for the cost of their defense. The United States is committed to making the United Nations more effective and accountable. I have said many times that the United Nations has unlimited potential. As part of our reform effort, I have told our negotiators that the United States will not pay more than 25% of the UN peacekeeping budget. This will encourage other countries to step up, get involved, and also share in this very large burden. And we are working to shift more of our funding from assessed contributions to voluntary, so that we can target American resources to the programs with the best record of success. Only when each of us does our part and contributes our share can we realize the UN's highest aspirations. We must pursue peace without fear, hope without despair, and security without apology. Looking around this hall, where so much history has transpired, We think of the many before us who have come here to address the challenges of their nations and of their times. And our thoughts turn to the same question that ran through all their speeches and resolutions, through every word and every hope. It is the question of what kind of world will we leave for our children, and what kind of nations they will inherit. The dreams that fill this hall today are as diverse as the people who have stood at this podium, and as varied as the countries represented right here in this body are. It really is something. It really is great, great history. There is India, a free society over 1 billion people.
Grove's got a posse.
Successfully lifting countless...
Okay, get in. Love you.
Yeah, look, great talking to you. Excuse me, hey.
What you doing?
To explicitly,
Beach. Now,
forcefully,
it's so inconvenient having to leave your seat, make everyone stand up, get up. You know, to let you by, then go stand in line for the bathroom. I mean, half the time we can barely walk anyway, all right? So we'll be handing out petitions that say support.
and consistently reject.
Love a bit of a fun, Chuck. Since my wife and children got taken into a shelter, my friend said, Chuck, you obviously love hitting things. So I've...
The ideology of organizations like Al-Qaeda and ISIL.
For the Grove, dude.
It is one of the tasks of all great religions to accommodate, devote faith with a modern, multicultural world.
Works downwards.
You gotta be shitting me.
Hey, Derek Thackeray,
No children are born hating.
No one. But I do like to piss on my seat and at my seat too. Not really on it, so stay out of the way.
Now tell me, the 5 games, that ain't rigged, is it?
Of course not. Hey, out.
No children anywhere should be educated.
When he could earn that over a number of years getting his brain turned to pulp. Be serious for a minute. The clock is counting down again. It's time for Derek to head to the locker room and celebrate in the shower. We'll see you next time. Bring a cooler full of beers and get ready to riot. This has been the Tight End Zone.
And this is WCTR, proving that radio is better than TV. That's the showman with large guts love.
The news and all the other things that really matter to you, like people dying.
Lady on fire. Bodies everywhere.
And explosions.
Is hanging from the trees. This accident is really cool.
Don't you push me?
The King of Iron Fist Tournament の開催を宣言する。ただし、力を示せぬ弱者は国ごと消えてもらうことになる。
We must seek Jin Kazama.
The battle to decide the ranks of the new world begins now!
I was born for this. You look like bait in the mix, I get a load of this. You ain't posing no threat, and now it's obvious. After rocking a gold, I'm not anonymous.
The fighters will battle for personal glory and the fate of their countries.
I'll give Kazuya a nice smack in the face! これで全てのピースが揃った。
託された希望、決して無駄にはしない。This a new age, still a no game. Watch me pave a new way, it's a no brain. Pay your dues, only used in a cool way. Knock the screws loose, I'm on the good day.
人類よ、戦いに教本しろ。
When ain't nobody wanna fight, yeah, standing here with my heart beating proud. I was born ready, yeah, you never see me down.
motivated to hate other people. There should be no more tolerance of so-called clerics who call upon people to harm innocents because they're Jewish.